So I now have a few Jeff Yagher kits, and up until now they've all been hammer subjects, but that's about to change because this has just arrived from the United States. Now, you know, the peculiar nature of when you do multiple videos and stitch them together to make one long video, you, the viewer, know what this is going to look like because you'll have seen the image, you know, the thumbnail that goes with this video. I don't. So this is an exciting time for me. I've been waiting for this. As I say, Jeff Yagher, sculpted by Jeff Yagher, cast by the brilliant Paul Gill. So I know what the finished product looks like because I've seen other people build them. But what I don't know is parts, how many parts, how much of a build there is. All right. So let's move. Okay, so I'm thinking, yeah, the plastic bags are padding. Let's leave the focal part till last. Yeah, this is all packaging. So what we have is in here, this will be the hands. Okay, that definitely the hands. In hands. Can't read what that says. That's hands. That's the base. Yeah, I can see the oil drum. And yeah, the focus of it all will be Palmer's face. I'm going to pause the video now and just get them out their plastic bubble wrap, and let's see what we've got. All right, so here is the base, solid resin. So you've got one of the oil drums, you've got one of the gas tanks, and a shovel, and a lot of snow. So that's really good, and a lug that Palmer's going to fit into. I had a lucky escape getting the hands out because I think what the other word was, it was either string or rope, because I had a lucky escape because I was cutting the bubble wrap open with my scissors and I almost sliced through the twine, which is going to be used to represent the rope that Palmer's tied to the chair with. So here we go. Proper the thing. You've got the hand, and growing out of the hand are the tentacles. So they're good, they're good. And then you've got the main man himself, Palmer. Brilliant capturing of Palmer. What I'm especially going to like about this is his eyes at this point have completely gone horrible, so no pupils to paint. But then there's the thing that you barely ever see in the film, and some people don't even realise it's there, but as he's transforming and before he goes up onto the ceiling, yeah, you have the skull in his neck. So that's going to be fun to try and reproduce. I'm never sure what's going on here. I don't know if that is actually Palmer's skull and the flesh and everything has just been pushed up and over. That's one thought, but it's got teeth and Palmer still has his teeth. So this is something else coming out, pushing his head up and out the way. Whatever's going on, it's going to be great fun. Also great fun to do the patches that are on his jacket. To do this, research-wise, got no choice, have I? I've got to put the Blu-ray on. Oh, what a hardship. I don't know, there's a little bit of flashing there, but let's give it a clean up. Let's give it a wash. And yeah, let's go. Okay, cleanup was just the odd bit of flashing here or there, hardly anything at all. The only job I had to do was the locating lugs were a bit too tall, so I've had to cut it off here to get Palmer to sit on top of the oil barrel properly. And yeah, I've had I was coming to that. I've had to cut down the pegs that go in the holes on each arm, and he is incredibly top heavy, and the weight of the arms, they don't want to stay in place. And I was hoping I could blue tack everything together for priming, but as you can see there, it's not going to behave. So I'm going to have to prime them all separately. Grey primer for everything, then move this one out of the way, and white primer for Parma. Right, those photos were just to show you what Parma looked like in his grey-white primer. I wanted to do a bit of videoing to show that bit, but I went out, came back quite late last night, and I wanted to crack on with this, so I put a coat of the appropriately named Flayed One Flesh. So that's a couple of coats on there, so that's good. Just waiting for that to dry. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but he is giving the finger, isn't he? And the other thing to report, it might seem a bit daft that the majority of this is going to be white, so why didn't you spray that white as well? Well, I wanted to do the can first and paint that and weather that, and then I'll be dry brushing all the snow around the base and up on the top, and then I'll be picking out everything. Well, that's what I've chosen to do anyway. Okay, over the flesh I put on watered down Reichland flesh tone, and then I've dry brushed it with the Flayed One Flesh, but then with Screaming Skull, especially over the skull, to make that nice and bright, because I'm very aware that all of this, especially this lower area, is going to be splattered with blood, and I want the details to shine out of it. So shortly I'm going to be picking out the teeth. I think the teeth I'm going to put on Screaming Skull, and then ivory, and then outline each, because I want them to still be visible. Ditto Parma's teeth. Carisborg Crimson in the eyelid areas. I'm just about to pick the eyeballs out in ivory, and these boils that are going on here and on the hands as well, I've highlighted that in Screaming Skull. I'm gonna I don't need to, but I'm gonna paint them like a pussy color. So yeah, and shortly I'll be blocking in the hair color. What I want to do is get that all finished before applying any blood, and because the blood's going to be going down over his clothes, I've done 2 tones of grey for his undershirt. Next as well, I'm going to paint, I think I'll paint the badge and the patch as well before I put blue on. All right, I'll do blue last because there's an awful lot of handling, and I don't want to mess it up. All right, so yeah, I'll come back with more colours on. Oh, and I forgot to say, I've done the oil can or fuel can, whatever it is. This is why I didn't paint all the snow first, because I knew I'd be doing dirty washes. So that's all dry now. So next step here is to paint everything white and then start picking out the details. Is that a fire extinguisher or not? I've got to decide. Okay, so the base details are painted. Now I've got to go in and put white back over the top of everything and dry brush, not caring if I go onto any of those. And then I think once it's done, I'm going to just do a light overspray with white primers, just so it catches in places, like a light feathering of snow. So that's almost done. Parma's almost ready for goring up. I've just got to highlight a bit more of his hair. I don't know if you can make this out, but his denim jacket, I had a paint called Cantor Blue, which I thought would be all right. But Parma actually has a denim jacket that goes sort of like a grey colour when it gets old and filthy. So what I did was I mixed some of that blue with Mechanicus standard grey, and it's not that apparent with this bright light today, but it is a grey blue. It's not as blue as it's appearing there. Hopefully at the end you'll see what I'm on about. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. I've been picking out those little boils and pustules. I'm going to come back when I'm just about to apply blood, and then we'll go through the stages of the blood. Okay, with the jacket washed in black and then dry brushed and lightened back up, we are ready for the gore. All right, so I'm going to show you now 4 images that I've taken off of my TV. I found online reference photos of the Parma transformation are quite scarce, and I found the best thing to do was actually just put the Blu-ray on and pause it and take some snaps. So coming up now, I'll show you the 4 stages of his transformation. All right, so that's coming up now. Oh yeah, I was supposed to have started that by just showing you the base. I've done some final dry brushing with the base white, which is a grey white, but then white scar, which is the brightest white that Games Workshop do, and I've made a point of just dry brushing on the highest areas with the whitest white, and I'm happy with that. I don't think I'm going to do any overspray with white primer. I can set that to one side. That is done and ready. So this guy then, as you will have seen, the one constant thing until we get to the very freakish 4th picture is everything seems to be starting on this side. You get an awful lot of blood this side, but the one consistent thing through the 3 photos is the left eyeball stays clear. All right. Now, I would much rather it be the other way round, because Jeff has sculpted this very unusual shaped eyebrow. And if you go back and look at, I think either the 2nd or the 3rd photo, his eyebrow is doing this thing. I think the whole face is shifting and moving down, and Jeff has been accurate to that. But it does look a bit odd. I would rather this side of the face be very bloody, because I could cover that up with gore, and I am going to have to cover it up. It looks a bit weird, so I am going to cover that up with blood. So what I'm going to do is, not slavishly follow every dribble of blood that I can see in the photo, but it will be, maybe an interim stage between 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. All right, so let's go. Off we go. And what I'm going to be doing is I'll be going lightest blood to darkest blood. It's much better to put darker over light than light over dark. It will never work. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top and put on my first watered down blood to just block things in. So let's go. I'm looking forward to this. This is the bit that I've been looking forward to the most. I think before I actually start up on the eye area and work my way down, I'm going to start with the arms. Now the arms, it's not very clear what's going on blood-wise, but I figure the tentacles that are growing out of his hands would be bloody. So I figure the hands and the arms is a good place to start. So I'm going to have an experiment with that, and I think that's what I'll do, and I'll come back and show you what I've done there. Right, so for my first pass, I'm using Army Painter's Effect Paint True Blood, watered down with water, and that's given me this, okay, which is rather nice. I haven't completely covered the tentacles. I've kept it random, and I've put some on the regular skin. At the very end, I'm going to go in with a stipple brush and stipple spots of blood, but that's all right. I'll show you the other one. That's the middle finger one, okay, and as you see, putting it down onto his shirt as well, but that's okay. And because I was confident with that, I've just blocked in the right side. This is it, massively thinned down, and I've started stippling some of it neat onto his collar. This is going to be completely red. In those photos, it's odd to see, it's hard to see what's happening. What's happening on the left side of his face, because he's all in shadow. He's, as you will have seen, he's sort of like this. You see a little bit of the left eyeball. So I've put some down there. I know he's got a very, very red bottom lip, but I don't know how much blood is actually coming out of his mouth. So the next stage is to go in with the True Blood, but not watered down, and fill this area in. I want some mottle into it. I don't want it the complete scarlet red that the photos show. I mean, that puts Hammer's Kensington gore to shame. It makes Hammer look subtle. It's so bright red. I don't want it that bright red. I want mottle into it. So yeah, next step, I think I'm going to colour in that eyeball a nice bright red, and start coming down here with it, and here, and then start covering all this up. So that will be stage 2. Second pass, that's it, dabbed on neat, and when it's neat, it does look like real blood. It's quite unsettling, and so therefore you can see I've done that all over that cheek, down a bit more, completely covered that area with it. I did the eye all red like it's meant to be, but I didn't like it. It wasn't pronounced enough. It was too red. It was a solid red. So I've dabbed it off, and in dabbing it off, some bits have been left behind, but that's fine. I'm going to put a watered down one over. I want that eye to be really pronounced. So yeah, I'm going to go back with it watered. So I'll do that, and then I've also got another paint to apply, and I'll show you that soon. Artificial light because it's night, but hopefully you can see what I'm up to. So yeah, this is the next colour, which is again Army Painter, but Dry Blood, which is a really nifty darker blood with bits in it, is the best way to describe it. So yeah, I've been putting that all, pooling it around the bottom, and I'm putting it where the tentacles meet the flesh. I'm not too bothered by how that looks at the moment, because I'm gonna, and there as well, because I'm gonna speckle some of that and some of the lighter one on, which will be the step after this. The eye, I've now washed it, so it's not as red as that. Okay, so that's fine. And now what I'm doing is I've gone in with that darker red in the eye sockets, the nostrils, and down here. Excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze. I am going to sneeze. Yeah, so look at that. The colours are all wrong. Look at this. I hadn't really noticed. Yeah, I'm looking around the corner of my phone and it's blue. Here it's green. I'm going to sneeze again. I'll come back in daytime. Well, apologies for that. It's all out of my system now. So as you can see, it is daytime, and work has progressed. And what I've done is I've been going around with the True Blood and the dry blood with a suitably knackered paintbrush, dabbing it in the paint, dab most of it off, and just I've been stippling and dabbing all along where the join is between the tentacle and the regular skin. All right, like so, and like so. I really like the dry blood. It really darkens down, and as I say, it's got bits in, so it's nice and icky. And yeah, daytime, so he's back to having a dark blue denim jacket and not the greeny grey one that it had under the light last night. What I've done here again is just dabbled the dark in places, and I thought that there was going to be red going over that eye, so I kept it nice and white. Now there isn't any on it, it's too white, so what I've done is I've painted that Vallejo ivory, and I've given it a coat of gloss varnish. I think I'll give it another one, and also, yeah, just to make that eye stand out, I've given that a coat of varnish as well. It was shiny anyway, but I want his eyes to be really shiny. So we're pretty much done. What I'm going to do now is just paint the sides and the back black, and then I think what I'm going to do is I don't think I'm going to stick the arms on first, because that's, I think, going to be a problem when I go to attach him to his base. I think the best thing to do is stick him to his base, make sure that's really, really, really set, and then stick the arms on. So that's what I'm going to do, and I will be back with Parma finished. And yeah, if I pan down, arms are attached, he is attached, he is done. Again, another fabulous bit of work by Jeff Yagher, and expertly cast by Paul Gill. So thanks, chaps. My very first John Carpenter's The Thing bust. I know there are others, so the big question now is who do I go for next?